Today we're going to be taking a look between a real SM57 and a fake SM57. Wait, is this the... So what's up guys, welcome back to the channel, Chris here. So like I was saying, we're checking out the difference between a real and a fake SM57, or half fake. But before we get into it, hit that subscribe button because the support really helps. But moving on, we've got... They look the same, but half of one is different. This one specifically. And what's different is the fact that this top half is from AliExpress. I realized this microphone had stopped working on me, and after numerous days of trying to fix it with no luck, I ended up searching for a replacement part, which unfortunately Shure do not actually provide themselves. So I had to go the Chinese cheap route, and I found this. Actually, I ended up getting two of these for about 30 euros. So we're going to see what the difference is, and we're actually going to go through a bit of the process of assembling this because I've never done it before, and so we're all going to learn about this together. So with that said, let's go over to the workbench, work table I guess, and sort this out. Alright, so here we are guys, we're at the workbench. Now this right here is our old 57 Capsule. Got a bit of tape to mark that it's broken, but it is what it is. I've tried my best to get it to work. I've even tried resoldering the little copper wires here with no luck. So I've gone online and purchased one of these bad boys. This is what it looks like. So if you compare the two, you can see they're pretty similar. The genuine one has a slightly different color on this kind of metal casing. And the big difference I noticed is that on the original, they have these super teeny tiny copper wires connecting the, you probably can't even see it, connecting the diaphragm to the section up here. Which on these ones, they actually have a rather chunky black cable. And I don't know if that's for the reason that these tend to snap, these tiny copper cables, so maybe that's why it's a replacement, is for a safety, or I don't know if the copper itself, if there's a necessity to it being this small and exposed. So it's just a different thing. So we're gonna stick this onto the body of an old 57 and see how it works. Let's dive into it. So the first step to reassembling it is basically sticking it in this kind of centerpiece casing. We just have to make sure that this lines up with this. As you can see from my previous attempts, it's not looking very pretty, but we make do. So the plus is there, and let's see how it fits. This is gonna have to, maybe this is meant to come off. Okay, this is gonna fit a lot better now. Boom, look at that. That's how it's meant to be, poking through. Nice. Okay, let's get the bits on. That's nice and locked in. Okay. Fortunately, they've actually gone ahead and left a little red mark on this so you know which one is the positive side, which is very helpful. Question is, how are we gonna stick this in? So, make some space. Okay, I'm just gonna get this on. Fan for the solder. So let's prime some stuff. Let's do the wires. You can see that the green one isn't as polished as the yellow one. Let's give that a bit of more security. Well, that's definitely more secure. I guess we're gonna see how this goes. Now, we plug it in. Test 1, 2. Hey, check 1, 2. Well, we have power. That's good, it works. It sounds like a microphone. Sounds a little bit dark, but we've got juice. Okay, so there you have it. We have our new SM57 back. If we compare it to a standard 57, they look pretty identical. One thing I've noticed is that the text is like slightly thinner in thickness, but otherwise everything else looks pretty much spot on. Otherwise, they are pretty much identical with a different capsule. So let's hear the difference between these two, starting off with a little bit of acoustic guitar. So the first thing I've noticed is this mic is particularly brighter. That might be a good thing, might be a bad thing. I mean, if you listen to this mic solo, it just sounds a bit more plain. But when it comes to mixing it, this is probably going to be easier to work with because you've got a more even kind of sound to play with. Whereas this, it's already partially sculpted, you know, you've got a little bit of brightness in it, a bit more mids. This just feels a bit more even across the board, but just generally a bit darker. That's the difference between the two. I've even made a little EQ match using Pro Q of FabFilter just to see, you know, what the difference is, and it looks like this. Saved it as a preset. Bear in mind it is a bit of an estimate, it's not exact, but it does the job. With that said, let's try this out on the drum kit, particularly the snare drum, and see how it sounds. So this I actually had a bit more difficulty getting a similar sound. I noticed that the variations between the two felt quite large, especially when I used the Match EQ. For whatever reason, the OG just triumphs. It sounds like a snare drum when I put it in front of a snare drum, whereas this, I felt like I was tweaking it to get it to sound like the other one, which isn't really what you want. You want to stick a microphone in front of an instrument and the instrument sounds like the instrument, more or less. That was a bit different. So I'm not quite sure what I'm going to be using this for. It definitely will have a purpose if I ever need an extra mic. You know, you can just stick it in front of an instrument, use a bit of placement, which I noticed does make a massive difference in this case, and just see what you get out of it. At the end of the day, it's just an extra mic in the cabinet that was once dead but is now revived for a really affordable price. So Can't complain with that. But that's about it for today, guys. I'm curious on your thoughts. What do you think about the two mics? Do you prefer one over the other? Do you prefer this kind of content, actually? Because this is something a little bit different, so be curious to know what you think. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe. The support really helps, and thank you to anyone who's already done so. Really appreciate it. But that's about it, guys. Once again, I've been Chris Fella, and I'll see you on the next one.